In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the Deloitte interview process step by step. So if you're interviewing with Deloitte or just curious what the Deloitte interview process is like, this video is for you. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. All right, let's dive in.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
If you're watching this video, you probably already know the benefits of working at a place like Deloitte and how amazing that opportunity can be. In fact, you don't have to look very far. I remember when I was recruiting for Deloitte and just thinking to myself, wow, if this is how they treat candidates, I wonder how they treat their actual employees. Here I was attending an info session with Deloitte, and all around the room, you could see people who are employees of Deloitte and how happy they were just to share their stories and try to recruit the next group of people to work at Deloitte. And then not only that, but just the fact that when you go through the interview process, they were willing to fly me out halfway across the country. They haven't even thought about if I'm going to be a great consultant yet, but they're willing to pay for my plane ticket, willing to pay for my hotel, willing to pay for my food, and willing to pay for my taxis just for the chance of me going to their office, interviewing, all of that as a candidate. So I imagine, what is it like to actually work there? And of course, when you work there, you realize there's a lot of benefits to working at Deloitte. The first is all the exposure you get and all the skills you're going to build. Deloitte actually makes more revenue than McKinsey, Bain, and BCG all combined. As a result of that, you get exposure to a lot of different clients and a lot of different projects during your time at Deloitte. Second is Deloitte is among the top 5% of companies in terms of pay and compensation. Can you imagine even being like a 21-year-old and automatically earning in the top 5% of earners worldwide? That's amazing. And third is no matter if you work at Deloitte for 1 year or one lifetime, you're always going to have that brand recognition on your resume. And Deloitte has offices in 150 countries. That's 2.5 times more than McKinsey, 3 times more than BCG, and almost 4 times more than Bain. That's amazing, the type of recognition that you get even after you decide to leave Deloitte. So a lot of benefits of working at Deloitte, but before you can work at Deloitte and get these benefits, you actually have to get a job offer. So let's go into what it actually takes to get a job offer at Deloitte. So the good news is that when it comes to the Deloitte interview process, it's pretty simple. There's only 4 steps. It is you have to apply, you have to pass the online assessment, you have to pass the first round interviews, and you have to pass the final round interviews. Let's talk about what each of these entitle. So the first step is you have to apply to Deloitte. Luckily, Deloitte makes this really easy. As a student, you just have to upload your resume, upload your transcript, and either apply through your career center or through an online portal at Deloitte. And if you're an experienced hire, that is someone already working, you're not in school, it's also easy. All you have to do is upload your resume to the online portal. So very simple. And when Deloitte is actively hiring, you can expect a response back in roughly about 7 to 14 days, sometimes even less. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer, but on average, you're gonna expect 1 to 2 weeks. So after you get the application in, let's say that the Deloitte recruiters actually want to interview you, then they might decide to move you to the second stage, which is the online assessment. The Deloitte online assessment is Deloitte's way of evaluating if you could be a great consultant. So what they do is they're going to give you a test, and they want to see how well you can use your numerical reasoning, as well as how well you exercise judgment. So for example, you might get 35 questions around 5 different topics, and they want to see how well you navigate through it. But don't worry if tests or online assessments worry you. If you do have the Deloitte online assessment, I have a video where I go deep into detail about how to prepare for those. I'll link that below in the description, so if you have that, you can rest easy.
That lovely.
Now, let's say that you passed the online assessment, or maybe the recruiter decided you didn't need to take the online assessment and just pass you right through the interview. Then you go to the third step, which is the first round interviews. So the first round interviews are made of 2 types of interviews, which are case interviews and what are called behavioral interviews. So case interviews are when you're given a business prompt and you're asked to solve it. And the type of prompt that you're going to be asked to solve will depend on the branch or team that you're applying to in Deloitte. So for example, let's say that you're applying to Deloitte Consulting, which is made up of 3 prominent branches. If you're applying to strategy and operations, which deals with high-level business issues, your case prompts will involve the type of work that the team does. So you might be given a case on how to optimize pricing all the way to how to optimize the supply chain. Or if you're applying to the technology branch of Deloitte, then you might get a problem that involves technology transformation, for example, a digital strategy, or how to incorporate a certain technology into the client's ongoing process. Then the third prominent branch is human capital, which deals with people and processes. So you might be given a case, for example, how to reorg a team, or how to improve knowledge management for a certain division of a company. What you want to do here is make sure that you're preparing for the right team and the right branch. So if you're applying for human capital, you can definitely expect to have more human capital related cases. But regardless of the team that you apply to, Deloitte actually just looks for 4 things, which is they want to know, are you a structured problem solver? Can you think analytically? Are you able to balance creativity with practicality? And finally, do you have resilience? That is, if you encounter a problem, are you going to look proactively to how to solve it, or do you just quit? This is important for all employees of Deloitte. So regardless of what branch or what team you apply to, you can be expected to be evaluated on these 4 traits. The second part of it is the behavioral interview. This is when interviewers will assess you on 2 things. The first question that interviewers will care about is, do you actually fit the firm culture? They want to know that you've actually done your research and you've thought about why you're interviewing today. So for example, if you're applying to Deloitte Consulting, they might ask, why are you applying to consulting? And second, why Deloitte in particular? The other half of it is they want to see how you deal with certain situations. So they're going to dig into your personal experience. So for example, they might ask, tell me about a time that you had a conflict with a manager. How did you handle that? And by the way, if you're preparing for the interviews at Deloitte or wondering how to get an interview at Deloitte, I'd love to be able to help you. I'm going to provide a link below. You can actually book a free strategy session with my team. I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can land your offer at Deloitte and other firms as well. Finally, the 4th step in the Deloitte process is the final round interviews. Though it's called the final round interviews, this might be a combination of 2 rounds of interviews or just 1 final round of interviews. Just keep that in mind here. But I'm bucketing it as the final round, which is you've already made it past the first round. And depending on the role and the team that you apply to, you can expect either more case interviews and or more behavioral interviews. And in addition, you might either get a callback and potentially you might be asked to join what's called a group interview, where there's going to be multiple people in the room because the interviewers want to observe how you interact with others. So again, the final round interviews will vary depending on the team and the branch you're going. After your final round interviews, usually within a week, you're going to get one of 3 outcomes. Outcome number 1 is it's a no, unfortunately. Outcome number 2 is they're not quite sure yet. They want to bring you back for an additional interview to get more data points on you. Or outcome number 3, they extend you a contract and they're excited to have you join the team. So those are the 3 outcomes, and usually you'll hear these within a week. Now that you know how the Deloitte interview process works, I want to leave you with one strategy. This strategy is going to help you exponentially be closer to getting your offer. And the strategy is this. When you're applying to Deloitte, you want to be careful about which team and which branch you apply to. Because depending on the team or the branch that you apply to, you want to use that knowledge to your advantage. I see so many candidates who apply to Deloitte thinking that it doesn't matter which team or branch they apply to, and then they end up getting rejected. But if you do know which branch you're going to apply to, I want to share with you a methodology how you can use that information to your advantage. But before we leave, I have 2 more things to help you.
Let's go, boy!
First thing is, if you are recruiting for Deloitte, if you put the word Deloitte in the comments below, I'm going to share with you additional resources to help you along the way. Again, all you have to do is just hit Deloitte in the comment section below. And the second thing is that if you're 100% serious about wanting to work at Deloitte or another amazing consulting firm, I want to be able to help you get there. Here at my consulting offer, my team of former recruiters, interviewers, and consultants, all we do is help people become management consultants. In fact, we've helped over 700 people land their dream job in management consulting. And in fact, our success rate is 89.6%. That means that 9 out of 10 people who work with us land at least 1 consulting offer. But you don't have to take my word for it. Hear from Ella, who actually had less than 3 weeks to prepare for her interviews with Deloitte and how she was able to navigate that process and land her dream offer at Deloitte. I'll share that video somewhere above my head. All right, I'll see you in the next video.